I've always been excited to play Tomb Raider games past 3, since I know how people dislike them and all. While I don't get why most people hate 4 more than 3, but I definitely understand why they hate Chronicles more than 3. After Tomb Raider 4, where they killed off Lara, core design thought it was all over. Only for the big guy above named Idas comes with a new task. Do not make one, but make 2 games. One for the current gen, which was the PS1, and one for the new gen, which was the PS2. But Lara's dead! Shut up and make 2 games. But little to their surprise, they made core design drop perhaps their biggest stinkers ever. Or were they? Today we'll talk about the first game for the current gen, which was Tomb Raider Chronicles. And as for now, if you have watched my previous Tomb Raider videos, you know how this goes, and I advise you to watch them so you can understand what's going on. So, do we agree with the community? Or was the community a little harsh? Perhaps beating a dead horse a little too much. Okay, we gotta divide Chronicles into 4 different sections since they differ in quality and outfit and almost everything else. So grab yourself a snack or something and let's go. We have to give a little introduction for the game so you can understand what's going on. I thought Lara were gonna do a Michael Myers card and be alive again, but no. Turns out Lara is dead. So you have her closest friends slash allies tell the untold stories of Lara Croft. As for phase 1, we are in Rome, so Italy. Last seen in Tomb Raider 2, but that was in Venice. So how is it? How they can do a whole sequel while the main character being dead and be interesting? Well, short answer, they couldn't. Many of the issues I had in the previous games are present here, but the game is a little shorter than usual, so they don't affect as much as the other Tomb Raider games. They tried to give Lara a little bit more story here, but the main problem is that the story gotta be something very interesting since we're coming off Lara's death, a big event. Countering that with just new stories ain't gonna cut it, even if the story isn't all that bad. But I found myself over and over very bored and uninterested in this sequel, or so to speak, prequel. But it's not all bad. We have cameos here, and hello, haven't seen you in a while. Since Tomb Raider 1? Welcome back. I don't know how they survived, but welcome back. So the story is pretty much the other characters making huge mistake and trusting Lara over and over, only for Lara to be the biggest ever known to humanity. For the whole 3 Rome levels, I was thinking, why would you trust her? Like, look at her. She looks evil enough. But that's only for the story. How's the gameplay? Well, I find myself enjoying it a little bit, because you know, the Tomb Raider mechanics are quite the addiction. Opening doors and do something so you can get the other thing working gives value to the whole area, something that the Tomb Raider games do very well. And Chronicles does it as well. A very interesting boss fights, much better than 3. And Rome is quite the interesting place that I wish that Tomb Raider games had visited. So now they did, and it is interesting for the most part. But there are some heavy hitters issues. And what are those? Pretty much every single issue about the previous Tomb Raider games are here. They didn't address any problem from the previous games, which was very annoying. And in this one, even though the game is short, so I said they wouldn't affect the game that much, but I can't help myself but to feel this is less quality than the other ones. Why? Because it's the newer one. And as much as the issues present itself in the newest product, it's always gonna be worse. Lara is still very slow, and they even add a new mechanic, which you have to balance yourself here, but it was just undeveloped and quite honestly unnecessary, because it's very slow and you have to go forward and try to balance yourself, and it's pretty easy. Once Lara loses balance, only click left or right to balance her back. Sure, I can do that. And this issue can vary from player to player, but I found this issue with my Steam game is that the shortcut guns are no more. So pressing 1, 2, 3 to give yourself a quick way to access your arsenal isn't present in this game. It was present in 4, but it wasn't in Chronicles. But that's only for me. I have found many people in the Reddit said no. Even Tomb Raider 1 and 2 and 3 had it, so I'm not very sure. The second mission is one of the most annoying missions I have ever seen in Tomb Raider game. Why? Where do we start? Remember this little mechanic that you have to do in Tomb Raider 4, which will just pull this little chain towards you? Yeah, it's here. But the game doesn't tell you to pull it multiple times, so I was lost aimlessly searching for something here. Thank you, game. See this little manhole on the ground? Bad textures, probably part of the structure, right? No. You have to press use on it in a specific angle so it can be open. How the hell would I know that? From the 3rd level to above, it started a scary trend, which we have seen in Tomb Raider 3, trial and error. And what happens when you die? You go back to the fucking menu, and then you have to load your game again. So here, the ground collapses only for me to find a volcano down Rome? People of Rome, are you okay? Like, this is a serious issue, you should fix this. But because of the cutscene and the camera shake, I didn't have enough time to react. So yeah, trial and error. Here, the clunky control and the very strong camera shake made me unable to think, move, or platform. Trial and error. Remember when I said the 3rd level is problematic and it's the start of many many trends in this game? Okay, good. It happened again. Tomb Raider Chronicles have a problem with the lighting, and sometimes the main objectives or the items cannot be very clear. Like here, the key just blend in with the textures and the ground, so it's very hard to spot. Eventually I got it, but hell, it was hard to see. So that's the first phase, which is Rome. It was not designed very well, and it has the same issues that the other games has, but I enjoyed myself ultimately. It was still Tomb Raider. The game keeps the quality of Rome and would be good to go. Not the best Tomb Raider game ever, of course, but good enough for a mid Tomb Raider game.
I talk of the stricken wolf ship.
Ah, the U-boat episode. Miss Croft would never enlighten me as to the details. For my own protection, she would often stress.
So as for the second phase, which is the submarine, it's quite interesting. Again, you have two villains. So the captain of this ship gave the authority to a mafia boss, for economic purposes of course.
If I deal with the like of you to keep my men in bread, it does not make me one of you.
But only for him to know he's a big and Lara going for the spear, which is very dangerous. So she's probably saving the world or something. I don't know. I don't really understand Lara anymore. One time she's a demon, the other time she just shows emotions out of nowhere. Like this scene here when the captain is dying. I'm not sure what justifies Lara's reaction. Like why? Why is she feeling bad for him? Why is she showing emotions out of nowhere? Throughout the whole game, she's just the biggest annoying and cruel person known to humanity. So when she showed emotion, it felt out of nowhere. And again, while the story is interesting, I'm not sure if I should care enough for me to be invested in. But that's the story. How's the gameplay? Decent for the most part. The whole submarine area is quite interesting and the atmosphere is beautiful. You even have a mini mission where Lara takes the suit and just go underwater. Yeah, it's short and it's very linear, but it's there, I guess. And it reminded me of the ship from Tomb Raider 2. People hate these missions, but I like them in Tomb Raider 2. So it was just a nice feeling to get in Chronicles. But it wouldn't be Tomb Raider Chronicles without having many issues, like the hidden walls. Seriously, Chronicles have a big issue with the hidden walls, and I'm pretty sure that's the first game in the series which has hidden walls, at least in that amount. In the second mission, I'm not sure what I was supposed to do. I thought I can take him out quietly, so I crouched and tried to go near him, but he kept finding me. So I said, okay, maybe it's something I have to do in the room, maybe above. Came to no avail. Turns out you can only do this if you walk in slowly. How the hell is walking slowly more silent than crouching? Don't ask me. In the last level of this phase, a new issue popped out. So pretty much in Tomb Raider Chronicles, you lose all your guns, equipment once you finish a section. So our things from Rome that we collected, we don't have them anymore. And that's a big issue the last level because it filled with things that can kill you. And hell, even the guards have electricity in it. So yeah, talking about new issues, it's very possible that you lose yourself because the game is a big idiot. Like here, how the hell can I know that the liver is here? Like how even is that possible? But sure, Tomb Raider, sure. So I guess that's it about the second phase. It's okay at best and definitely less enjoyable than the first phase.
The child. I shall snuff out her life as a candle.
It's pretty much young Lara from Tomb Raider 4, remember her in the first two levels? We control her again. I was very excited, and yeah, it is very exciting because the story here sort of reminds me of horror movies, probably in the 90s, and I love horror movies, like it's my favorite genre. Quality wise it's probably the worst, but I just enjoy them. So you follow this priest to go with him on a mission to a haunted house, and no, I'm not gonna make a joke about priest and a child. Again, the story is very interesting, and we even can talk to a dead body, and the whole atmosphere and the background sounds are top notch. But all of that can lead to nothing without a good gameplay. So how is the gameplay? Yeah, it led to nothing. That has been perhaps the most annoying section in the whole game. So here, I was streaming the game for my friends and they called this little imp me. I don't know why. Toxic friends. Gotta get rid of them. The area layout is terrible and many things can be missed because you don't even have flares. And that thing is very effective. Why? Because you can lose a lot of freaking time just wandering around over nothing. Like here in the second mission. How can I possibly know that I have to click use on this little thing? How? And good luck trying to figure this mechanical machine here. For me, it was just randomly pressing button until I succeed. Why? Because it's pretty simple. Same freaking looking areas and two different sections which look almost identical. 8 different floors. Good luck with that. And Old Mel is perhaps my worst Tomb Raider level ever. Why? Oh boy, where do we start? If we go back to the beginning, the cutscene will just play over and over and you can't skip it. And you know what they say? Unskippable cutscene are the biggest sin in video games. A terrible platforming area which you have to take damage. 2 aims throw rocks at you and keeps damaging you. a rope section, and the confusing, terrible puzzle. What else can you do to make this game even worse than it is? And they succeeded. Look, I'm all up for a challenge, but at least be fair, be merciful. I know Tomb Raider games is sometimes about the difficulty, but hell, it's about the exploring as well. And if I keep dying over and over and be confused and lost, it's not enjoyable. Look at Tomb Raider The Last Revelation, at least in some part of it. Look at Tomb Raider 2, and the best example, Tomb Raider 1. They all let you explore. Tomb Raider Chronicles does not have that. It's probably the most linear Tomb Raider game ever. Thus far, of course. So, that's it about Phase 3. Terrible phase. I hate it with passion.
Enough talk. Contact me if you see anything.
That girl has got one bad attitude.
It started off with the 13th floor and it gave me Splinter Cell flashbacks and IGI and 90s to early 20s sci-fi movies vibe. Pretty cool atmosphere and story. As for the other phases, you even get a gun which can go into sniper or burst or just rapid fire. Then you have X-ray vision. Good stuff, and it's all left for the gameplay. So how is it? As for the first level, very cool and perhaps a straightforward level. If it wasn't for these guys which can kill you in 1 or 2 hits. Once again, terrible sin in video games. And the second level is one of the most annoying things ever. And again, one of the worst Tomb Raider levels I have ever played. Where do we even start? It's very likely that you can get yourself soft locked in this mission, and Tomb Raider Chronicles sometimes takes the camera away from you. Terrible mistake, I know, not new for this game. So here, terrible camera placement, and I have to just jump above this thing? Like, what the hell is even this thing? Thank God my friend was here and I was streaming the game to him and he fed me information like a drug dealer. You see this little handle? It can easily blend in with the textures. Easily. You see this guy? Previously, we had poison to kill him with, and now we can't do that. Why? Because the game is scripted. Terrible platforming sections and into red alert. So I'm quite conflicted on red alert. Some sections I really love and some sections I really hate. Like this little laser section is cool and all, and I do like it to be honest, but with the whole tank control and Lara being very freaking slow, it's kinda hard to do and not very satisfying as well. The end section, if you run out of medkits, good luck. And while you might say, okay, you can take the medkits from the ground if you just jump down, okay, but what happens then? I keep taking damage. So if that's not terrible design, I don't know what is. And finally, we have a cutscene where Lara is alive. Okay. And that's all for Tomb Raider Chronicles. Look, Tomb Raider Chronicles is a whole new game, and it is shorter than the other Tomb Raider games, and I can give more credits if the game were a spin-off or just a standalone DLC for The Last Revelation, since there is almost no new innovation whatsoever. But it's a whole new game, shorter, more boring, and more linear, with very confusing and terrible puzzle, which reminds me of Tomb Raider 3, and trial and error and unrecognizable textures, which also reminds me of Tomb Raider 3, and with the story that's only tell the previous Lara Croft untold stories. From my perspective, this is the worst Tomb Raider game I have ever played. It feels more of the same and doesn't even do the things right that the other Tomb Raider games did. And the series now is quite stale on me and I wish for something new. So again, this is my first playthrough ever and perhaps it will change in retrospect. I don't know. For now, as for the first playthrough, this game is not very good and I think it's my worst Tomb Raider game. So that has been it. You can watch my other 4 Tomb Raider videos just to spot why this game is inferior to the other 4 Tomb Raider games. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.
Forget, Mikhailov. I am still an admiral of the Russian Navy, and as such, demand respect.